I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
She was screaming like crazy. The detective ran right in the apartment. There was no way to stop him. He just took off.
Went to arrest someone on a warrant for homicide, and when they went to the door, he opened fire with a machine gun.
There's a list of all the six. 40-year-old Mary Buckley, shot in the mouth. 55-year-old John Ridge, treated and released last night. 42-year-old Donald O'Sullivan, who suffered a graze wound to the head. 46-year-old Thomas McCARREN, shot in the neck. The most seriously injured, 26-year-old John O'Hara, shot in the face and may lose the sight in his left eye.
The suspect is known to be armed with a shotgun, 45 automatic, 357 Magnum, small caliber handgun, and an Uzi submachine gun.
Larry Davis is described as black, 5 feet 8 and 165 pounds. He used to have a mustache, but he is now clean-shaven with close-cropped hair.
Earlier today, police had blanketed the neighborhood around East 168th Street, where Davis, the night before, had shot 6 police officers. Police went door to door, questioning neighbors, anyone who might have seen Davis.
It all began on a dark November night, the 19th, when a team of police officers assembled outside a Bronx tenement. They believed Larry Davis was harbored in the apartment of another sister, and they wanted him for questioning in the slang of 4 reputed drug dealers in
He
late
wasn't
October.
afraid. He just started shooting. I couldn't see the man to get a shot at him. I just kept firing to keep him away from me, and I imagine that's what everybody else was doing, just to keep him back. He was a lot of gunfire.
8 officers were wounded, and now Davis is on trial. The jury selection, however, has been slow and controversial. Charges of racial bias flying about the courtroom. And as correspondent David Goldstein reports, the judge in the case agrees and now must decide what to do.
It has become a racial tug-of-war, with accused cop shooter Larry Davis stuck in the middle. In the 12th day of jury selection, the prosecution has charged Davis's attorney William Kunstler with racism for purposely excluding whites from the prospective jury panel. In return, the defense charged the DA's office with excluding blacks.
It is a racist concept to exclude a person simply because of the color of their skin. That is racist and must be condemned.
So far, 6 jurors have been sworn in, and 5 of those are black. And defense attorneys have already challenged 8 white prospective jurors, dismissing them without any reason. The 21-year-old Davis is charged with 9 counts of first-degree attempted murder, all stemming from a wild shootout with police 2 years ago. 6 cops were injured. Davis escaped, but was captured 17 days later. Since the trial will pit the black defendant against white police officers he claims were out to get him, Kunstler admits he's been trying to get a mostly black jury.
I'd like a third world jury. That's a jury of his peers. I think they would understand the situation. They wouldn't be overwhelmed by the fact it's police officers. Why are they trying to do the opposite?
But Supreme Court Justice Bernard Freed cried foul, ruling there was reason to believe jurors were being excluded because of race. He sided with the prosecution, prompting Kunstler to allege the judge is biased against his client.
And I think it is not a legal, but a political and a decision coming out of your own personal ambition.
But there has been legal precedent. Last year, the judge in the Howard Beach trial ruled that defense attorneys were barred from excluding blacks solely on race. He added that attorneys would have to give non-racial explanations when trying to dismiss prospective jurors. That is one of the options the judge can now consider. He can also dismiss those 6 jurors who've already been sworn in and then start from the beginning. But right now, his decision is on hold until Monday as Coulter appeals to a higher court. In the Bronx, David Goldstein, Channel 2 News.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb. We on our way to NYC with it. Headshot City. The BX to be exact. Need all my guys from the BX to get in the comment box. Matter of fact, we need the whole NYC to flood that bitch. We about to talk about a legend. Today we are talking about none other than the infamous Larry Davis, also known as Adam Abdul Hakim. And this story here, even though we don't rank them, this story might be regarded as one of the wildest and also definitely qualifies for the Mount Trashmore of street figures. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Larry Davis, his name grew in street infamy on November 19th, 1986. Now, this is going to be when 9 police officers with up to 20 officers standing by outside would attempt to raid a Bronx apartment building where a shootout would ensue that would end with the wounding of 6 NYPD police officers and Larry Davis, one of, if not the most wanted suspect in New York. And it would lead to a massive manhunt that lasted 17 days, one of the biggest in New York State history, and pretty much making Larry Davis enemy of the state, enemy of the nation. His face was plastered on every news station. Now, that's going to be the gist, or what most people know about Larry Davis or about his story. But it's really deeper than that, because that raid was subsequently executed due to a warrant that they had for Larry Davis for the murder of 4 drug dealers. And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit more about, because at the time of Larry Davis's death, he was serving time for an illegal gun possession as well as a murder charge, serving 5 to 15 on illegal gun possession and 25 on the murder. So he was looking at a max of about 40. But most people think that he was in jail for that shooting with the police, which is not going to be the case, because he was acquitted of that subsequent shooting. And not only was he acquitted of the subsequent shooting with the police officers in the Bronx, he was also acquitted of the 4 murders that they was there to serve the warrants on. Now, 1988 was a huge year for Larry Davis, because that's when he went on trial for the 4 killings that was said to occur in October of 1986. Prosecutors would contend that Larry Davis was a big-time drug dealer and part of an armed robbery crew that would go on to rob drug dealers. And they would call numerous witnesses in the efforts to convict Larry Davis. But the jury would go on to find a lot of discrepancies and found conflicting testimony from some of the witnesses that the prosecutors presented. And he would end up beating that case. Then that would lead to November of 1988. And that's when he would go on trial for the shooting of the 9 police officers. Now, on November the 20th of 1988, Larry Davis would go on to be acquitted of all charges except for 6 counts of criminal possessions of a weapon. And that would lead to him initially receiving the 5 to 15-year sentence that we spoke about earlier. Now, his legal troubles wouldn't be over then, because he would go on trial towards the end of 1989, where he would again find himself on trial for the murder of a drug dealer in Harlem by the name of Victor Lagenbra. Now, after a 5-week trial, the jury would return a not guilty verdict in that case. Now, this is getting to the part of the story where you know you can't beat the police every time. Now, Larry Davis would again go on trial in March of 1991 for the murder of a Bronx drug dealer. In January of 1987, Larry Davis's older brother, Eddie Davis, was arrested and charged with 2 others for attempting to rob a Webster Avenue apartment. During the course of this robbery, the prosecutors are going to say a shot was fired through a door, killing a guy by the name of Raymond Vizcaino. During trial, a jury would go on to convict Eddie Davis in June of 1989. Larry Davis's trial will begin 5 months later. And remember we talked about where you can't win them all? On March 14th, 1991, a jury would go on to find him guilty. Now, years into his bid, after having problems with police officers and even being placed in a wheelchair at one point, on February 20th of 2008, Larry Davis would be stabbed and killed after getting into a fight with another inmate. That inmate, Louis Rosado, also known as Blue Boy, was also serving his own murder conviction. Now, the details surrounding the murder of Larry Davis is real murky and changes depending what side you're on. In several interviews, Blue Boy would go on to say that Larry Davis was protecting a sexual predator of some sort. And on other outlets, some people are going to say that he just killed Larry Davis for clout. Regardless of the fact, on July 31st of 2008, a grand jury would indict Blue Boy on 9 felony charges related to the stabbing. And on February 25th, 2009, he would go on to plead guilty to first-degree manslaughter, and he was sentenced to an additional 10 years in prison that was to be served consecutively with his 25-year-to-life sentence. Now, he would go on to be released very, very recently, and you can probably catch a few interviews with him to kind of get his side of the story. But nonetheless, Larry Davis is going to go down as a folk hero. He's going to live in folklore and infamy just because of the situation surrounding the shootout with the police. But not only that, the amount of cases that he was able to beat. He was also trying to get into the music game, because around that time, that's going to be where Hustlers really kind of was in the beginning stages of transitioning to the music game. So who knows what that would have been like. He was definitely a terror even when he went in jail. Not to say like he was doing slashings and all of that shit, but he would have run-ins with police. It was video footage of police like just attacking him almost savagely in jail. So yeah, Larry Davis is definitely going to be a person that a lot of people on the streets are going to be talking about for a long time. Y'all get in the comment box and y'all let me know like where this story ranks, because this could honestly be the most craziest or the #1 story if we're talking about street figures. Because a lot of times we just talk about people, they either dealing drugs, they might have made a lot of money. We talk about people that might have committed a lot of murders or might have been on the more violent side when we talk about people like Pappy Mason and things like that. But Larry Davis kind of stands out because his story kind of connects both of those, and it also entails him fighting against the police. But y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all hit the red subscribe right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. And y'all let me know who we need to cover, where we need to go, or what we missed. Y'all know what it is with me, man. It's your boy Popalot. It's the Mobb. Mobb.